Alex had always loved the idea of living somewhere quiet and free. City life was full of noise and rules, and he often felt trapped by schedules, traffic, and the small complaints of neighbors. When his grandpa decided to sell his old ranch, Alex felt a spark of excitement. The ranch was far from the crowded streets, surrounded by tall fields, old trees, and a small creek that ran across the property. It was exactly what he had imagined when he thought about freedom and space. The first time Alex drove up to the ranch, he could hardly believe his eyes. The house was old but strong, painted white with green shutters. The barn had faded red paint and looked like it had stories hidden inside. The land stretched in every direction, open and wild, without fences or boundaries except the trees that marked the edges. Alex parked the car and stepped out, feeling the soft wind on his face. He closed his eyes for a moment and breathed deeply. The air smelled of grass, earth, and something peaceful he had never felt in the city. Unpacking was a small adventure in itself. Alex carried box after box from the car into the house. Inside, everything smelled faintly of old wood and sunlight. He placed each item carefully, thinking about how he could arrange the rooms to feel cozy. He found his grandpa's old photographs on a shelf and studied them. Some were of the ranch when it had first been built, showing people working the land, children playing near the barn, and evenings spent by the fire. Alex felt connected to these images. The ranch was more than land and buildings. It was history, family, and life waiting to grow again. By afternoon, Alex had explored most of the property. He walked through the tall grass near the creek, feeling it brush against his hands. He found a small cluster of wildflowers and thought about planting more. The trees swayed gently in the wind and birds chirped happily above. He even spotted a few deer grazing far in the distance. Rusty, the old dog his grandpa had left behind, followed him everywhere. The dog was friendly but slow, and he seemed pleased that someone new had arrived to care for the ranch. Alex also discovered Whiskers the cat, sleeping on a sunlit windowsill. The cat yawned and stretched when Alex approached, then rubbed against his leg, deciding that he was acceptable. Seeing these animals made Alex smile. He realized the ranch was not empty. It was full of life, and each creature had its own rhythm. He felt like he belonged, like he had stepped into a place that was waiting for him all along. That evening, Alex lit a small lantern in the kitchen and cooked a simple dinner. He looked out the window at the fading light, the sky painted in oranges and pinks. The wind rustled the leaves and everything was calm. For the first time in a long while, Alex felt free. No one would tell him how to plant flowers, how to paint a fence, or how to spend his evenings. Here, he could be himself. However, freedom often has challenges. Across the road from the ranch was a small neighborhood, neat and crowded with fences, rules, and people who watched every action. Among them lived Karen, a woman known for following rules strictly and enforcing them even when it was not her place. She had a loud voice, sharp eyes, and a habit of thinking she had authority over everyone near her neighborhood. Alex had heard stories from his grandpa about Karen. People called her the rule keeper because she would report the smallest things, from a missing mailbox number to a tree that was too tall. Alex did not think much of Karen yet. Right now, he wanted to enjoy the ranch, to breathe the air, to feel the sun on his face, and to start his life in a place that was entirely his. He planned to fix the barn, plant a small garden, and make the house warm and comfortable. He imagined mornings waking up to birds singing, afternoons walking along the creek, and evenings sitting by a fire with Rusty and Whiskers by his side. As he set up a small table in the backyard for dinner, Alex noticed movement on the road. A car slowed down, and someone leaned out of the window, waving aggressively. He realized it was Karen. She was watching the ranch from across the street. Alex took a deep breath. He knew this might not be simple. Some people like to control everything around them, even land that was not theirs. But he also knew the ranch was legally his grandpa's property, and that he had every right to be here. Alex decided not to react immediately. Instead, he smiled and waved politely, hoping to avoid a confrontation for now. The ranch was peaceful, and he wanted to keep it that way. He returned to his dinner, listening to the wind and the sounds of animals. This was his place, his new beginning, and he was determined to enjoy it, no matter what challenges might come from across the street. By the time night fell, the sky was dark, filled with stars, and Alex felt a happiness he had never felt in the city. He knew life at the ranch would not always be easy. There might be people who did not understand boundaries, rules, and ownership, but right now Alex felt ready. He felt strong, calm, and excited for the days to come at his grandpa's ranch. The next morning, Alex woke up early. The sun was just rising over the fields, painting the sky in soft pinks and golds. Rusty barked happily as he ran around the yard, and Whiskers stretched on the windowsill, enjoying the warmth. Alex felt refreshed and ready to explore more of the ranch. He wanted to see the barns, the creek, and the small grove of trees he had noticed the day before. It was exciting to think about all the work he could do and the new life he could create here. While Alex walked toward the barn, he noticed a car slowly driving down the dirt road. It stopped near the edge of the property. Alex's stomach tightened. The car belonged to Karen. He had only seen her from a distance yesterday, but now she was here closer than ever. Karen stepped out, her expression serious and angry. She held her phone in one hand and started walking toward him. "This is private property. You cannot just move in like this," she shouted. Her voice was sharp and loud, carrying across the empty fields. Alex froze for a moment. He had expected a visit eventually, but not so soon or so aggressive. Alex took a deep breath to stay calm. "This is my grandpa's ranch," he said clearly. "It is not part of your neighborhood. I have permission to be here." Karen's face turned red with anger. "I don't care. You are trespassing. I will call the authorities. You are not allowed to be here." Alex realized that arguing would not make her calm down. Karen had always believed she had control over everything around her neighborhood, even when it was not true. He decided to speak politely but firmly. "Ma'am, the ranch is outside the HOA. It has never been part of your neighborhood. The property belongs to my family, and I have all the legal documents. You do not have authority over this land." Karen's eyes narrowed, but she refused to listen. She waved her phone as if showing it would prove her point. A few neighbors from her street started peeking over their fences, curious about the confrontation. Some whispered quietly to each other, and a couple even took videos. Karen seemed to enjoy the attention, thinking it supported her position. Alex stayed calm. He noticed that Karen had no legal papers with her, no maps, no evidence. She only had her anger and her belief that she could control everything. Alex decided to ignore the yelling and focus on the ranch. He walked toward Rusty and Whiskers, who ran to greet him happily. The animal's calmness reminded him that life could continue peacefully, even when someone was upset. Karen did not leave. She started pacing along the property line, pointing at the house and the barn. "You cannot build, you cannot plant, you cannot live here." "This is illegal," she said. Alex knew she did not understand property boundaries. The ranch had been in his family for decades, and the deeds were clear. Still, Karen's yelling was unsettling, and Alex felt it was important to remain patient. Instead of responding with anger, Alex went back to unpacking his things. He carried boxes from the car to the barn, sorting tools and supplies. Rusty ran ahead, exploring the edges of the barn, while Whiskers jumped onto a crate to observe from above. Alex felt a sense of control returning. The ranch was his space, and he could decide how to use it. Karen's shouts were only background noise compared to the peace of nature surrounding him. As the day continued, Karen tried different tactics. She drove her car slowly along the dirt road, stopping near the fence to shout at Alex. She even took pictures of the ranch from the street. Alex noticed a few neighbors watching quietly. Some looked uncomfortable with Karen's behavior, but none intervened. Alex decided to focus on what he could control. He painted a small section of the barn and fixed a loose board near the entrance. The work made him feel accomplished and reminded him that the ranch was his responsibility, not Karen's. By late afternoon, Karen's yelling had grown more intense, but Alex had learned to stay calm. He called his grandpa to confirm the property boundaries and to talk about how to handle difficult neighbors. His grandpa reminded him to be patient and to focus on the ranch. "Your home is your peace," he said. "No one can take that away if you stand firm and stay respectful." Alex looked around the ranch as the sun began to set. The colors of the sky reflected on the creek. The grass glowed warmly and the animals settled down for the evening. He realized that Karen's anger could not reach the calm he felt in this place. The ranch had always been a safe, peaceful place for his family, and it would remain that way. That night, Alex set up a small campfire near the barn. Rusty lay close to him and Whiskers watched from the windowsill. The stars appeared. The next morning, Alex woke up feeling determined. Yesterday had been stressful with Karen's shouting and threats, but today felt different. The ranch was quiet, the sun was bright, and the air smelled fresh. Rusty barked happily as he ran around the yard, and Whiskers stretched lazily, enjoying the warmth of the morning sun. Alex felt a new sense of confidence. He had a plan for the day. He started by exploring the barn more carefully. The barn had 2 large doors that creaked when opened. Inside there were old tools, wooden crates, and stacks of hay. Alex decided to organize the space. He moved the crates and stacked the hay neatly. Rusty followed him inside, sniffing every corner, while Whiskers perched on a wooden beam to watch. As Alex worked, he imagined the barn full of light and order, a place where he could store tools, work on projects, or even relax on rainy days. As Alex worked, he noticed movement on the dirt road. Karen had returned. She drove slowly, her face showing anger and frustration. She stopped near the edge of the ranch, stepped out of her car, and started walking toward him. Alex paused and watched, wondering what new tactic she would try today. "This is not your property," she shouted the moment she reached the edge of the yard. "You cannot just move in and take over. You are trespassing." Alex stayed calm. He had learned that arguing with her would not help. "This is my grandpa's ranch," he said politely but firmly. "It is not part of your neighborhood, and I have every right to be here. The property is legal and belongs to my family." Karen shook her head. "I don't care. You will leave or I will take action." She held her phone up as if calling authorities would immediately make her correct. Alex noticed that a few of her neighbors were watching from behind their fences. Some looked curious and others looked uncomfortable. Alex realized that Karen's behavior was more about showing power than about the law. Instead of reacting angrily, Alex decided to continue his work. He carried more crates, cleaned up broken boards, and organized tools. Rusty barked happily, running between the barn and the yard, and Whiskers occasionally jumped down to investigate. Alex felt a small sense of victory. Karen could yell all she wanted, but she could not stop him from caring for the ranch. Karen did not leave. She walked along the property line, pointing at the house and the barn. "You cannot build, plant, or do anything here. This is illegal," she said. Alex smiled quietly to himself. The ranch had been in his family for years. He knew the deeds were clear, and he also knew that Karen had no authority over this land. Deciding to stay calm was working. Alex continued his exploration. He walked to the back of the ranch near the creek and discovered a small wooden bridge that crossed the water. The bridge was old but sturdy. He carefully walked across, noticing the reflections of trees in the clear water below. He imagined walking here every morning, listening to the water, watching birds, and enjoying the quiet. Rusty followed him carefully, sniffing the water, and Whiskers observed from a safe distance on the bank. As Alex explored, he began thinking about improvements. He could plant flowers along the creek, repair the bridge, and clear a path through the trees for easy walks. He could even build a small swing from one of the strong oak trees. The possibilities excited him, and he felt more connected to the ranch with every step. Meanwhile, Karen's shouting continued in the distance. She had not given up, but Alex realized her anger could not reach him if he stayed focused. He remembered his grandpa's words about patience and perseverance. His grandpa had always said that difficult people cannot take away your peace if you focus on what is right and good. Alex felt proud that he was handling the situation calmly. By late afternoon, Alex returned to the barn, tired but happy. He had organized tools, stacked hay, and explored a new part of the ranch. Rusty lay down near the barn door, panting slightly, and Whiskers stretched in a patch of sunlight. Alex felt accomplished. The ranch was beginning to feel like home. Karen finally drove away, muttering under her breath. She might return, but Alex was no longer worried. He knew he had the legal right to be there, and more importantly, he had the courage to stand his ground. He had learned that calmness, patience, and focus could protect the ranch more than yelling or threats ever could. As the sun set, Alex sat near the barn with Rusty by his side and Whiskers nearby. He looked at the fields, the trees, and the creek. The wind whispered through the leaves, and the ranch seemed to smile back at him. Alex felt a deep sense of belonging. He knew challenges might come, but he also knew he was ready. Alex decided that tomorrow he would start a small garden and continue exploring the ranch. He felt excitement for the life ahead. The ranch was his home now, and he would protect it with patience, courage, and care. Karen could continue her shouting, but it would not change the peace and happiness Alex had found on his grandpa's land. For the first time, Alex felt that living on the ranch was not just about property. It was about freedom, connection with nature, and the joy of building something meaningful. He looked at Rusty and Whiskers, feeling grateful for their companionship. Life at the ranch was beginning, and Alex was ready for everything it had to offer. The next morning, Alex woke up early, feeling ready for a productive day. The sun shone brightly over the fields, and a gentle breeze carried the smell of fresh grass and wildflowers. Rusty barked happily as he ran around the yard, and Whiskers stretched lazily on the windowsill. Alex smiled as he drank in the calmness of the ranch. Despite the problems with Karen, he felt a strong sense of purpose. This place was his home, and he was ready to make it beautiful and welcoming. Alex decided to start with the small garden he had been planning. He found a sunny spot near the back of the house and began clearing the ground. Rocks, old roots, and dry grass were removed carefully. Rusty helped in his own way, running back and forth and sniffing everything while Whiskers observed from a safe distance, her tail swishing in curiosity. Alex felt a quiet joy as he worked. Planting seeds was not just a task. It was a symbol of new beginnings. He imagined vegetables and flowers growing here, bringing life and color to the ranch. While Alex was digging, he noticed movement on the dirt road again. Karen had returned, and this time she brought her neighbor with her. The two of them walked up to the edge of the property, arms crossed with serious expressions. Alex paused and looked at them calmly. Karen started speaking first, her voice loud and firm. "You cannot live here. This is trespassing. You have no right to plant or build anything here." Alex took a deep breath. He had learned from the last encounters that staying calm worked better than arguing. "Ma'am, this is my grandpa's property. It has never been part of your neighborhood. I have all the legal documents, and I have the right to live and work here," he said politely. Karen waved her hands, frustrated that words did not scare Alex. She looked at her neighbor for support, but Alex noticed the neighbor seemed unsure. Alex smiled quietly to himself. He realized that Karen was the only one making noise, and her threats had no real power. Instead of getting upset, Alex continued planting the seeds. He made neat rows for vegetables and a small area for flowers. Rusty wandered nearby, occasionally sniffing the freshly turned soil, and Whiskers came down to examine the plants with her sharp green eyes. The peaceful work made Alex feel stronger and more connected to the ranch. Karen, however, refused to leave. She paced along the edge of the yard, shouting warnings and complaints. "You cannot build, plant, or live here. You must leave immediately." Alex ignored her, focusing on planting and preparing the garden. He knew that anger could not fix anything, but hard work could. The ranch was alive, and it belonged to him and his family. By late morning, the garden was taking shape. Alex planted rows of tomatoes, carrots, and lettuce. He set a small area for flowers with bright colors, imagining how they would attract butterflies and bees. The soil was rich, and the sunlight warmed his back. Alex felt proud. Karen's shouting was only noise, and the ranch continued to feel peaceful and full of life. After a while, Karen seemed frustrated that her yelling had no effect. She walked back to her car, muttering under her breath. Alex watched her leave but stayed focused on his garden. He watered the newly planted seeds, imagining the plants growing strong under the warm sun. Rusty wagged his tail happily, and Whiskers purred contentedly. In the afternoon, Alex explored another part of the ranch. He found an old wooden fence that needed repair. Some boards were loose and others had fallen over time. Alex gathered tools from the barn and began fixing the fence. He hammered nails carefully and replaced broken boards. Rusty helped by carrying small sticks and pieces of wood, and Whiskers supervised from a nearby fence post. Alex felt satisfaction with every board he fixed. The fence was not just protection for the ranch. It was a symbol of care and responsibility. As the day ended, Alex looked around the ranch. The garden was ready, the fence was repaired, and the animals were happy. He felt proud of what he had accomplished in just one day. Karen might continue to complain, but Alex knew her words could not change the ranch. This was his home, and he was creating a life filled with work, nature, and peace. That evening, Alex set up a small fire near the barn. He roasted a simple meal and enjoyed the quiet sounds of the ranch. The wind rustled the trees, birds sang their evening songs, and the morning sun shone brightly over the ranch, filling the fields with golden light. Alex woke up feeling excited for the day ahead. Rusty ran to greet him, wagging his tail, and Whiskers stretched lazily on the windowsill. Alex took a deep breath of the fresh morning air. Life on the ranch was beginning to feel natural, calm, and full of possibilities. Today, Alex decided to spend the morning exploring the areas he had not seen yet. He packed a small backpack with water, some snacks, and a notebook to record his ideas. Rusty followed closely, sniffing every path, and Whiskers joined for a short distance before returning to watch from a higher branch. Alex wanted to understand the ranch fully so he could take care of it well. He walked through tall grass and around clusters of trees, noticing wildflowers in every color. Birds sang from above and the wind made a gentle sound through the leaves. He found small trails made by deer and other animals and he followed them carefully. Each discovery made him feel more connected to the land. It was quiet, peaceful, and alive. After a while, Alex reached a part of the ranch near the creek he had seen before. He stopped to rest and watched the water flow gently over smooth stones. Rusty drank from the creek while Whiskers perched on a rock nearby. Alex noticed some fish swimming in the water and a family of ducks on the opposite bank. He took out his notebook and sketched the area, thinking about how he could make it a special place without disturbing the animals. Alex also thought about the garden he had planted near the house. The seeds were starting to grow, small green shoots appearing above the soil. He felt proud of his work. The ranch was slowly transforming into a place of beauty and life. Even with Karen's complaints, he realized that his efforts were meaningful. Nature responded to care and patience, and he could see the results already. Later in the morning, Alex decided to check the fence he had repaired the day before. He walked along the line of wooden posts, making sure everything was secure. Rusty ran ahead, sniffing around the edges, and Whiskers followed more cautiously. The fence looked strong, and Alex felt satisfied. It was more than just wood and nails. It represented order and protection. The ranch felt safe, and he knew he was taking good care of it. As Alex returned to the house, he noticed movement on the dirt road again. Karen had come back, but she stayed near the edge of the property this time. She shouted a few words, but Alex had grown used to her. He continued walking calmly, carrying a basket of vegetables he had harvested from the small garden he had started. He realized that Karen's shouting no longer made him nervous. He had the legal right to live here, and he had learned that patience was stronger than anger. By noon, Alex felt hungry. He set up a small picnic near the barn, Rusty lying next to him and Whiskers perched nearby. He ate fresh vegetables, bread, and cheese while enjoying the quiet sounds of the ranch. The breeze carried the scent of wildflowers and fresh grass. For a moment, everything felt perfect. Alex thought about how different this life was from the crowded city. Here he had space, freedom, and peace. In the afternoon, Alex decided to explore another part of the ranch he had seen from a distance. There was a small hill that overlooked the entire property. He climbed carefully, Rusty panting happily beside him, and Whiskers watching from below. When he reached the top, he could see the barn, the garden, the creek, and the fields stretching far into the distance. The view was beautiful. Alex felt proud and grateful. He realized that the ranch was not just land. It was a place full of life, opportunity, and calm. Alex spent the rest of the day planning improvements. He marked areas for flowers, cleared a small patch for a picnic area, and thought about building a swing near one of the strong oak trees. He felt energized and happy. The ranch was becoming a place of work, play, and relaxation. Even though Karen continued to complain from a distance, she could not affect the happiness and progress Alex was creating. As evening approached, Alex built a small fire near the barn. Rusty lay close by watching the flames, and Whiskers settled on the windowsill. Alex cooked a simple meal and enjoyed the warmth of the fire. He thought about the day, the discoveries he had made, and the progress on the ranch. Everything felt possible. Life here was simple, full of beauty, and filled with opportunity. Alex realized that the ranch was teaching him important lessons. Patience, responsibility, and care for nature were more valuable than anything he had learned in the city. Karen might continue to challenge him, but her complaints no longer mattered. The ranch was his home, a place of freedom and peace. Alex felt a deep sense of satisfaction and belonging. As the sun set, painting the sky with gold and orange, Alex knew he was ready for the future. He would continue planting, exploring, and improving the ranch every day. The land was alive, and he was part of it. The ranch was more than a home. It was a promise of happiness, adventure, and connection with nature. The next morning, Alex woke up feeling curious and excited. The ranch had grown more familiar, and he wanted to explore parts he had not seen yet. Rusty ran in circles around him, barking happily while Whiskers stretched in the sun. Alex packed a small bag with water, a snack, and his notebook, ready to spend the day discovering new areas of the ranch. He decided to explore behind the barn, a place he had not visited before. The ground was slightly uneven, covered with tall grass and small shrubs. As Alex walked carefully, Rusty ran ahead, sniffing every corner, and Whiskers followed cautiously, jumping from rock to rock. The sound of birds filled the air, and the breeze carried the fresh smell of grass and soil. Alex felt excited to see what hidden spots the ranch might have. After a short walk, Alex discovered a small trail leading into a grove of trees. The grove was dense but beautiful, with sunlight filtering through the leaves and casting patterns on the ground. Birds flew from branch to branch, and Alex could hear the faint sound of the creek in the distance. He felt like he had found a secret part of the ranch, a place full of life and calm. Rusty sniffed the trees and chased a butterfly, while Whiskers crouched to watch a small rabbit hopping through the grass. Alex walked deeper into the grove and found an old oak tree that was especially large and strong. Its branches stretched wide and the trunk was thick and sturdy. He imagined building a small treehouse here, a place where he could sit and enjoy the view of the ranch. He took out his notebook and drew a plan for the treehouse, noting how high it should be and how he could make it safe for Rusty and himself. He smiled, feeling proud of the idea. While Alex explored, he noticed movement along the dirt road again. Karen had returned, and she seemed more determined than ever. She parked her car near the edge of the ranch and started shouting, "You cannot be here. You are trespassing. This is illegal." Alex sighed quietly, realizing that Karen would not give up easily. He decided to stay calm and continue exploring. He knew she had no legal claim to the ranch, and her shouting could not reach the peace of the grove. Rusty barked at the sound, but Whiskers remained calm, showing Alex that the animals trusted him and the ranch. Alex spent the afternoon clearing small fallen branches and leaves near the oak tree. He wanted to make a safe area for the treehouse. Rusty helped by carrying small sticks, dropping them at Alex's feet, while Whiskers supervised from a branch. The work was tiring but satisfying. Alex felt that every branch he moved and every step he took made the ranch more welcoming. Karen continued to shout from a distance, pacing along the road and waving her arms. She even tried taking pictures of Alex as he worked. Alex noticed a few neighbors watching from behind their fences. Some whispered quietly and others shook their heads. It was clear that Karen's actions were mostly her own frustration, and they had little effect on the ranch or its new owner. By late afternoon, Alex decided to take a break. He sat under the oak tree, Rusty lying at his side and Whiskers perched on a nearby branch. He drank water and watched the sun shine through the leaves. The grove felt magical, like a hidden part of the ranch that belonged only to him. Alex realized that this place offered not just space but also peace and inspiration. He spent some time sketching the grove and the treehouse plan in his notebook. He imagined a small ladder leading up to a safe platform, with a cozy space to read or watch the sunset. The thought of creating something new on the ranch filled him with excitement. He knew that the work would be challenging, but the rewards would be great. As the sun began to set, Alex packed his bag and started walking back toward the house. Rusty trotted happily beside him, and Whiskers jumped down to run a few steps before climbing back onto a fence. When they reached the yard, Alex looked back at the grove and smiled. He knew he had discovered a special part of the ranch that would give him many happy moments in the future. Karen was gone this time, leaving the ranch peaceful once more. Alex felt relieved but also proud. He had explored, worked, and planned without letting her shouting disturb him. The ranch had its own rhythm, and Alex was learning to live in harmony with it. That evening, Alex set up a small fire near the barn and cooked a simple meal. Rusty lay close to the flames and Whiskers curled up nearby. The stars appeared in the sky, and the wind whispered through the trees. Alex felt a deep sense of happiness. The ranch was his home, full of life, freedom, and new possibilities. He knew challenges might come, but the morning sun rose over the ranch, filling the fields with warm light. Alex woke up feeling energized. Rusty ran happily around the yard, barking in excitement, and Whiskers stretched, letting out a soft purr. Today, Alex wanted to focus on making the ranch even more comfortable and enjoyable. He had discovered hidden trails, planted a garden, and planned a treehouse, but there was still much to do. After breakfast, Alex decided to continue working on the garden. He watered the small plants carefully, making sure each seedling got enough water. The lettuce and carrots were growing strong, and a few flowers had already bloomed. Rusty followed him around, sniffing the soil, and Whiskers jumped from a fence post to watch the activity. Alex felt proud. Every small action made the ranch feel more like home. While Alex worked, he noticed movement on the dirt road. Karen had returned, looking more determined than ever. She waved her hands and shouted from the edge of the property, "You cannot live here. You are trespassing. Stop building and planting immediately." Alex paused for a moment, taking a deep breath. He had learned that staying calm was the best way to handle Karen. "This is my grandpa's ranch," he said politely. "It has never been part of your neighborhood, and I have every right to live and work here." Karen's face turned red with frustration, but she did not leave. Instead, she paced along the edge of the property, muttering under her breath. Alex realized that her actions were more about showing power than enforcing any real rules. He returned to his garden, determined not to let her ruin the peaceful morning. After finishing with the plants, Alex decided to check the barn and make a few small improvements. He found some old wooden crates that could be repaired and used for storage. He hammered and nailed carefully, making sure everything was sturdy. Rusty helped by carrying small sticks, and Whiskers watched from a high shelf, occasionally jumping down to inspect a crate. The barn was slowly becoming organized and functional, and Alex felt a deep sense of satisfaction. By late morning, Alex decided to explore the small hill he had noticed from the barn. From the top, he could see the entire ranch. The creek sparkled in the sunlight, the garden looked healthy, and the barn stood proudly. Rusty ran ahead, barking at the open space, while Whiskers followed cautiously, moving from rock to rock. Alex felt a sense of freedom and pride. This was his home, and he had worked hard to care for it. While Alex enjoyed the view, he noticed Karen in the distance, still pacing along the road. She had brought a few more neighbors with her this time, trying to show that people supported her complaints. Alex watched calmly. He realized that the more she tried to interfere, the sillier she seemed. Her shouting and pacing had no effect on the ranch, the animals, or the progress he had made. In the afternoon, Alex returned to the grove near the oak tree. He had planned to start building a small platform for the treehouse. He measured the tree, checked the branches, and laid out materials. Rusty barked happily, running around the area, and Whiskers watched from a nearby branch. Alex carefully started constructing the base of the platform, making sure it was safe and sturdy. He imagined sitting there one evening, watching the sunset and feeling the breeze in his hair. Karen's shouting continued faintly from the road, but Alex ignored it. Her attempts to control him were becoming less effective. The ranch had its own rhythm, and he was learning to live in harmony with it. By the time the sun began to set, Alex had completed most of the platform. It was solid, safe, and ready for the next step of construction. Rusty lay happily in the shade, and Whiskers purred softly nearby. As evening came, Alex set up a small fire near the barn. He cooked a simple meal and enjoyed the warmth and smell of the fire. The stars appeared one by one in the clear sky, and the wind whispered through the trees. Alex felt a deep sense of happiness. The ranch was more than just a place to live. It was a space for work, relaxation, and adventure. Karen's complaints no longer mattered because the peace and beauty of the ranch were stronger than any shouting or threats. Alex reflected on the day. He had explored new areas, worked on the barn, and started the treehouse platform. The garden was growing, and the ranch was becoming more organized and beautiful. Rusty and Whiskers were happy, and Alex felt proud of what he had accomplished. Life at the ranch was full of small victories, and he was learning to enjoy each one. Before going to sleep, Alex sat near the fire and looked at the stars. He felt grateful for the ranch, for the animals, and for the chance to live in such a peaceful place. Karen might continue to visit and complain, but Alex knew her actions could not change what he had built. The ranch was alive, and he was part of it. For the first time, Alex felt completely at home. The morning sun rose slowly over the ranch, casting golden light across the fields. Alex woke up feeling happy and peaceful. Rusty barked and ran around the yard, while Whiskers stretched lazily on the windowsill. Today felt different. The ranch was no longer just a new home. It had become a place full of life, energy, and possibility. Alex decided to finish building the treehouse he had started a few days ago. The oak tree in the grove was strong and tall, perfect for a small platform that could be a lookout, a place to relax, or simply enjoy the view. He carried the tools and wooden boards carefully, planning each step so the platform would be safe. Rusty followed, sniffing the ground, and Whiskers hopped from branch to branch observing Alex's work. As Alex hammered and measured, he thought about how much the ranch had changed since he moved in. The garden was growing, the barn was organized, and the creek was clean and sparkling. Every small task he completed made the ranch feel more alive. Alex smiled, realizing that the land responded to care, patience, and hard work. Partway through the morning, Alex noticed movement along the dirt road. Karen had returned, looking frustrated. She paced back and forth near the edge of the ranch and shouted, "You cannot live here. This is illegal. You must leave immediately." Alex paused for a moment and looked calmly at her. He had learned that staying calm was the best way to handle her. "Ma'am, this is my grandpa's property. It has never been part of your neighborhood. I have every right to live here and take care of the land," he said politely. Karen waved her arms in frustration but did not approach closer this time. Alex noticed that she seemed tired of arguing. Her shouting had no effect on the ranch or on the animals, and she was slowly realizing that her attempts to control him were ineffective. Alex returned to the treehouse, focused on his work, while Rusty and Whiskers kept him company. By midday, Alex had completed the platform. It was solid and safe, high enough to see the entire ranch but low enough to climb easily. He climbed up and looked around. The creek sparkled, the garden thrived, and the barn stood proudly. He could see the fields stretching in every direction, the trees waving gently in the breeze, and the open sky above. Alex felt proud and accomplished. This was his home, his work, and his freedom. After finishing the treehouse, Alex decided to plant a few more flowers around the garden and along the edge of the creek. He wanted the ranch to be not only practical but also beautiful. Rusty ran along the rows, chasing leaves, and Whiskers watched from a safe distance. Alex felt joy in the simple work, knowing that each plant would grow strong with care. In the afternoon, Alex explored a small hill near the far edge of the ranch. From the top, he could see the whole property, the barn, the garden, the creek, and even the dirt road where Karen had been shouting. He realized that the ranch was more than a home. It was a space of freedom, adventure, and connection to nature. Rusty ran happily and Whiskers followed carefully, both enjoying the open space. Karen remained in the distance, watching from the road, but she no longer shouted. Alex noticed her neighbors observing silently. It was clear that Karen's complaints had no power here. Alex smiled to himself, understanding that patience, calmness, and focus had won the day. The ranch was alive, thriving, and fully under his care. As evening approached, Alex set up a small fire near the barn. He roasted a simple meal and enjoyed the warmth and smell of the fire. Rusty lay close by and Whiskers curled up nearby. The stars appeared in the sky one by one and the wind whispered through the trees. Alex felt a deep sense of happiness. The ranch had become more than a home. It was a place of peace, freedom, and joy. Alex thought about how far he had come since the first day he arrived. Karen had tried to challenge him, but her actions had no effect on the ranch or on his happiness. He had learned that respect for the land, patience, and hard work were stronger than shouting or complaints. The ranch was his, and he was part of it. Before going to sleep, Alex climbed up to the treehouse one last time. He looked out over the fields, the creek, the barn, and the garden. The animals rested peacefully below. The wind carried the sound of birds singing softly in the distance. Alex smiled, feeling content and proud. He knew that the ranch would continue to grow, thrive, and provide him with happiness for many years. For the first time, Alex truly understood the meaning of home. It was not just a house or land. It was the peace, freedom, and joy that came from caring for something and being in harmony with nature. Karen might still complain, but she could never take away what he had built. The ranch was alive, full of life, and completely his. Alex felt a deep sense of belonging, knowing that he